You will all go through this so-called entrepreneur, and this is a very interesting concept for those of you who are not familiar. Those of you who are psychology students or behavioral sciences management know this. And the McClelland's finding was that all those countries that have economically developed 20 to 25 years later had the children's thought influenced by the stories, the folk stories and other stories which were filled with achievement motivation, where the hero was trying to do something different, something unique, something better, and so on. So the hero of the story thought what we say now as entrepreneurially, but McClelland uses the term achievement motivation. And then he said, if countries can cultivate entrepreneurial thought in children and then economically develop a few years later, why can't we do that currently in schools and colleges and also for other people? So he came to India, spent a few years in Hyderabad with the CET Institute, got hold of a group of people from Kakinada, Rajahmundry, Vellore and so on, and taught them a 1 week of entrepreneurial thinking and demonstrated that if you teach entrepreneurial thinking, it is possible to at least make about 30% more of them to be entrepreneurs. Now this is what Gujarat borrowed, and Gujarat asked us, for 3 years we ran without any such training, but after 3 years we ran it with this training. Now can you evaluate and tell us if it has made a difference? Now we created a concept called, because these were all different programs. One program was to make unemployed people employed, another program was to make employed people self-employed and things like that. We said we had to compare all this, so we conceptualized a concept. We called it entrepreneurial movement. So if you are unemployed before the program and after the program, a few months after the program, if you got employed, you have already moved in an entrepreneurial way. You don't need to be self-employed. From unemployment to employment is an entrepreneurial move. From employment to self-employment is also an entrepreneurial move. From self-employment, if you are self-employed, there is no guarantee you will be successful. Self-employment to successful entrepreneurship is also an entrepreneurial move and so on. Now if you consider this as entrepreneurship, all those institutions, either B schools or engineering colleges who are trying to improve the placement levels, the salary levels at the time of placement, because they compete with each other in terms of saying what is the CTC that was offered, average CTC this year and so on. I think you are also trying to do the same thing. You are trying to create an entrepreneurial movement, and for that you do a whole lot of things. You change the curriculum, you talk to people, you create new opportunities, and nowadays I think you also have HR conclaves and things of that kind to attract people and so on. So all these are entrepreneurial movements, are meant to be entrepreneurship. If we picture this way, all education in my view is nothing but entrepreneurship. The only thing is that are we doing enough? Can we be better entrepreneurs? Now it is in this context I have chosen to share a little bit about a book I have written, in which I think this is the latest book that I had after I wrote another book called Managers Who Make a Difference for the IIM Golden Jubilee year in the year 2010. I started asking a question, what makes people effective? I defined, I searched quite a bit, and finally I came up with this very simple definition. An effective person is one who recognizes the talent inside. All of us are born talented, and we all believe in this. We'll have to discover the talent. Makes effort to discover the talent and uses it for making the difference in the lives of others. Uses it for making difference in the lives of others. So if you are talented, that's not enough. You have to recognize your talent, and you should use it for making a difference in the lives of others. And I deliberately chose sectors other than corporate sector, because all my life I have been working largely in corporate sector. So I said, now let me pick up. A doctor who does his job in order to treat a patient is an effective doctor. But if a doctor does his job in order to collect the money only, if the primary purpose is collecting money, then you are not an effective doctor. A teacher who teaches to bring change in the student is an effective teacher. But if he teaches to collect the salary at the end of the month, then such teachers keep on negotiating. Why 30 hours? Why not 15 hours teaching only? Why professors should teach only 6 hours whereas lecturers should teach 24 hours and things of that kind, negotiate. I mean, these are the people who are not interested in teaching, but they are interested in terms of shortcuts, and they are not entrepreneurs. These are not effective teachers. Similarly, they are not effective doctors. So I picked up effectiveness in about half a dozen different fields. I started asking myself this question, including, I think, in films. What makes a film actor an effective actor? What makes a social worker an effective social worker? What makes a doctor an effective doctor? What makes a professor an effective professor? I'll start with professors. And from among the professors, I found some very, very interesting cases. Now, naturally, I had to bank on my own kind of an experience. I'm sure some of you have heard of wonderful work that has been done by a professor at IIM Ahmedabad, Anil Gupta. Just this morning, there was a very interesting article in Ahmedabad newspapers that every year for 3 full days, there is a Sattvic food festival. He gets people from all over the country and organizes a Sattvic food festival. Gives an opportunity from across the country to come for farmers to exhibit their product and then make food and make people. So that used to be held so far in IIM campus. Now, Srishti has created many wonderful things. About 25 years ago, he created a magazine called Honeybee Network. And this Honeybee Network takes indigenous innovations from rural areas, documents it, and sends across to thousands and thousands of people across the world in about 40 to 50 countries and so on. I think Government of India at some point of time recognized him and then gave him also Padma Shri. So Dr. Anil Gupta is a professor. He teaches at IIM. To me, he is an entrepreneur, great entrepreneur. And IIM facilitates this. Another professor, couple of professors, I have covered this in this book, by name one Jagdeep Chokar. I am sure most of you know Jagdeep Chokar, and Trilochan Shastri. Trilochan Shastri taught for some time in IIM Ahmedabad and then in IIM Bangalore. And Jagdeep Chokar taught, and towards the end of his, during the time of his retirement, when he was about to retire, he enrolled himself as a student of law. And he did his law. And later on, both Trilochan Shastri and Jagdeep Chokar started this Forum for Democratic Reforms. You will find him most of the time on TV and keep on. I think their mission is get honesty into the political kind of a system. Get politicians to declare their assets, and also if they have criminal cases, not to let them to contest elections. And they have been struggling hard. I think some battles they have won and so on. To me, this is entrepreneurship, academic entrepreneurship, because being a professor, using academic institution as a platform to bring change in the society, not only teaching. And once I asked Trilochan Shastri, "Bhai, ye sab kar rahe ho, but how is it going to help you? How is it helping you in teaching? Do you take any of this to the classroom?" Then he showed me how he uses all this in teaching models. He is a professor of production and quantitative methods, statistical models. He says that, yes, I use this in terms of doing some models, I have written some cases and so on. So you link it up with education and so on. And coming outside IIM context, I'm sure some of you heard of somebody like Shanta Sinha from Hyderabad, who I think she used to teach political science and public administration. And in one of her works in villages, she found young, less educated girls being tortured by people in the village, not giving a lot of labor and other kind of things. So she took them and put them in a library and started educating them. And then from a small, making the difference in the lives of 2 girls, she went on to think of people at large, started a whole series of non-formal education centers, created a foundation called MV Foundation, later on worked for children and so on. So if you look at, you have professors who use academic institutions as platforms for doing wonderful kind of things. So in this particular book, I picked up professors, I picked up doctors, I picked up film actors, I picked up also civil servants. Now if you look at civil servants, like I'm sure some of you associated in earlier years with people like Anil Bodia, I think all through his life, IAS officer, he always went back to education. He started, I think after he retired also, a very interesting concept in Rajasthan and so on. So when I looked at all these stories of effective doctors, effective social workers and so on, now this is what I have given in this. I'm not going to, this morning as I was coming, I said, let me pick up some of these names from Karnataka, and I'm not going to, I'm sure some of you can recognize these people, people like Joe Philip and others, Samantha from and this is Ramaya, and also I think I was trying to search for Dr. Pai and so many others. I think Karnataka is known. And in terms of the social workers, Ranganathan, who I think she lost her husband at the age of 32 because he happened to be an alcoholic and he died, and then she took a resolution that she is going to work for it. She started a rehabilitation center, and that is education. These are all the people, if you look at effective people from various fields, including from music. I'm sure those of you who know Subramaniam, he is all the time, Padta, Tega, Chalaga, those of you of Telugu, he is all the time educating, encouraging. I mean, this is education, this is entrepreneurship. Shivanadar, Dr. Kalam, Swaminathan, Tyagarajan, who is no more, and so many of these. I mean, I've taken all these people, these are all covered in my book. I'm just going fast. The intention is just to make a point. These are all effective people. And very interestingly, of course, these are all people, doctors. You know, I think you have seen Trehan the other day, all the time giving his version when Jayalalitha was in ICU. He is explaining, he is educating people. The media are asking him what is this particular instrument and so on. So you will find in every field, all these people, whether it is social work, civil services and so on, all these chaps who are effective and who made a difference in the lives of people are educationists and entrepreneurs. The only difference is they are using talent to make a difference in the lives of others, not for currency. Now, this is the biggest misnomer we have. If you make money, then only you are an entrepreneur. And you are calling somebody who doesn't make money as a failed entrepreneur and saying, no, no good. I think a person who dared to attempt and made something is an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is one who thinks differently, who makes an attempt, who takes risks, who innovate, who burns his fingers, half fingers. It doesn't matter. I think that is where educational entrepreneurship takes lead in terms of communicating to the rest of the world. We are not working to get money. Our currency is something different. I'm sure most of you know the Human Development Index, which UNDP has come up with. Almost about 27, 28 years ago, UNDP started measuring countries in Human Development Index, which said the extent to which people in a country are well developed is indexed and the countries are ranked. Now they use three criteria. Criteria number one, if you have a knack of living longer, if you live longer, then you are well developed human resource. The country has well developed resource. If you have competency base, we call it a skill base or many years of education, then you are well developed people. If you have good quality of life, then now education is supposed to give to all these, not only building competencies, but also give happiness in life, quality in terms of life and so on. If you take this as a criteria, education is entrepreneurship. All education is entrepreneurship. The only thing we need to remember is education should promote more and more people who can think differently. Now, this is something I found in this particular book. I have concluded, I have called all these people, you'll see all these chaps, I have concluded in this book that it is not enough to be an effective person. So, education should not merely produce effective people who discover their talent and use the talent for the sake of others. They should also produce more effective people. Now, I have come across three categories of people. Now, I think I can include a fourth category also. First category of people are simply effective people who use their talent to make a difference in the lives of a few people, just a few people. Now, this few, you can quantify it if you like. Even if you make difference in the life of another person, or you are an effective person, that is good enough. One person. I'm sure you all heard of the story of the boy seeing the crabs on the seashore and throwing the crabs. And this also comes on the TV quite often. And then somebody goes and asks him, now why, I mean, you see there are thousands and thousands of crabs. Now why are you throwing one crab to every, you take at the most a dozen crabs, it doesn't make any difference, you know, they are all going to die. He says, no, but it makes a difference for that crab. when I throw that. So you make a difference in the life of one person, I think it is going to be an entrepreneurial activity or an effective kind of a person. But you shouldn't be happy by making difference in one person. That is where educationists say that I am working not for one, I am working for many. So I call them as very effective people. Very effective people use their talent to help a large number of others, large number. And I introduce a category called super effective people. Super effective people are those who make sure that even after they leave, even after they disappear from this world, their talent will continue to be used. Now, these are the people who are institution builders. They build an institution, they are not there. The person who founded the Manipal group of institutions is no more here. But Manipal group continues, grows. So, that is a super effective kind of a person. Ravi Mathai is no more, but he created a culture in IIM Ahmedabad. It continues. He affected many more institutions, created and suggested to people how management can be applied to rural areas, to education and things of that kind. So it continues. So effective, very, very effective and super effective people. If you look at education, now most of you, I think those of you who are in this room and who are heading institutions are educational administrators, somebody who has founded the institution has given you on a platter. Manage this. What a great opportunity we all got to promote and create more and more effective people, more and more entrepreneurs. So we should not think entrepreneurship is only making money. Entrepreneurship is creating capabilities. Entrepreneurship is making people innovative. Entrepreneurship is making people to think differently. And entrepreneurship is creating people who can make difference in the lives of others so that we can create a happy society. I'm sure most of you have heard recent studies in management. They compared billionaires who made billions and billions of money and asked them about are they happy, and they found half of them are not happy and the rest are happy. Happy are those people who used the money to make a difference in the lives of others. Unhappy people are those who wanted to make more money. So we don't want to, education should not create entrepreneurs who want to keep on making money. Thank God today we have a prime minister who demonetized. Money is not important. I think we all have to learn now. There is no more money. It has to be substituted with happiness. We all have to think happiness is the new currency. Corruption has to go. If the corruption is there, people are going to be very unhappy. If people are honest, if people help each other, I think life will be taken care of. We take care of each other. We have a healthy kind of a society. What is the point of earning, becoming a millionaire? Because most of the time we find that these millionaires are not very happy people. So education, which stands by values, because we are told education is an all-round development of personality. Education is lifelong. Education never ends. Right? So those of us who are in the education field are already in entrepreneurial field. And we have got to treat ourselves as effective people. We have to have a lot of self-respect for ourselves. And we have to say that, look, this is the kind of a talent that I am developing. Discover. And one of the things that I was reading this morning, very interesting article that was produced that came from Harvard Business Review. And this article, which was circulated in WhatsApp, I think some of you who are in WhatsApp groups may have also seen this article. This particular article compared the companies that have done extremely well and companies that have not done well, and came up with an empathy index. And they discovered that empathy of the companies, empathy index of the companies is correlated with their success. Now, empathy index is what? If you care for your employees, your empathy is high. Same thing is true with educational institutions. In fact, education institutions are supposed to be highly empathetic. In my study, I found that all these people, irrespective of the profession in which they are, whether they are doctors, film actors, or they are civil servants, or educationists, or social workers, they had high empathy. They are all, because empathy is what makes you help others. And helping others becomes a new source of happiness, and happiness becomes a new source of new currency, and that is what is entrepreneurship. So I would like to say that those of us who are in the field of education, we should feel proud. We have a great opportunity. God has given us opportunity either to be a teacher and make difference in the lives of others, or an educational administrator and make difference in the lives of others, and so on. So I would strongly recommend that think, be proud, and be happy that you are already in it. Make sure that you make the lives of others happy and not create hurdles in their entrepreneurial ventures. Either it is a teacher or it is a support staff or anyone. I think we should constantly be treating everyone as an entrepreneurial, a talented person, everyone as an entrepreneur. Then I think entrepreneurship automatically happens. All kinds of wonderful things will happen. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity and listening to me. Those of you who are interested, I think this book, Effective People, is available. In fact, we got a few copies. If some of you contact us, we may be able to pass on a few of these to you. This book gives the lives of all these people and should be a good source of inspiration for all of you. Thank you. Thank you, National HRD Network, Bangalore chapter, for giving me this opportunity.
Enlightening perspective on entrepreneurship. I had never thought of it that way personally. I'm sure it was quite enlightening to the others as well. So we will move on to the last leg of today's event. I call on the director of Wellinkar, Mr. Anil Rao, Dr. Anil Rao, for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Srividya. Dear friends, it has been a great day, a marathon. I'm sure all of you must have got a lot of inputs in this Edupreneur workshop on transition from predictability to disruptive changes. I'm here to propose vote of thanks. First of all, I would definitely want to thank NHRD for giving this platform to for Edupreneur workshop, and absolutely abled by leadership of our own alternative director, alternative president of EPSI, Dr. Chaturvedi, and the team who took forward this particular opportunity with NHRD and in a collaborative effort put this whole perspective of entrepreneurship workshop. I'm first of all thankful to NHRD, EPSI for a wonderful effort. Can we put all the hands together to applaud both of them to get to this particular initiative? I'm very thankful to all the speakers. I would definitely want to mention each one of them and the moderators who have made this session very enlightening and definitely very attentive by all of you. First of all, I'd like to thank our own president, NHRD Bangalore chapter, Bala Balchandar, who's CHRO of Coffee Day, who took time to welcome all of us and then make it very comfortable as a session in his address, in his welcome address. Setting the context, Sanjay made it all easy to put all these sessions together. In fact, I should thank IFM and Sanjay in particular to put all the effort in getting this Edupreneur workshop to what it is done today. In fact, yeah, a round of applause to them. We had inaugural session, none other than Dr. M.R. Jairam. He is also the Senior Vice President of EPSI, Chancellor of M.S. Ramaiah University of Applied Sciences. He spoke on the new education policy implications for private sector. He did pull an alarm bell and sounded all of us that we should be together. Then we had a wonderful session by Professor William Kusar, who is Deputy Dean, University of Chicago Booth School from Hong Kong. A wonderful, interactive, I think a very insightful session where he spoke about how industry and academic institutions like us should collaborate and what is in for all of us if we do collaborate in a better way. And some good best practices he did talk about London Business School, he spoke about Chicago Booth School and also Harvard, how the balance between the admissions, the fee from admissions and how industry interaction gets to various endowments, various